Smile is the 2022 horror flick starring Sosie Bacon and directed by Parker Finn. And so this is, horror has been going through like a slight renaissance over the past couple years, and there's been some really strong, like, and new and fun horror movies coming out, recently. And I honestly can't say that that's been the case the past like 10 years, but the last like 4 or 5 years or so. Oh, actually, I could go back to like what 2015 maybe with like It Follows, and from then on, it's just been like amazing horror movie, classic after classic, kind of. And so, and Smile kind of picks up right in the spot. So, okay, Smile. What is it about? Basically, basically, this movie is kind of It Follows and The Ring, kind of like blended together to make this new kind of weird, trippy, disturbing flick here. So, Sosie Bacon plays this psychologist in a mental ward or hospital who encounters this young lady who in her office who starts saying she's haunted by something that smiles at her, and she's trying to keep it at bay, and like she was attacking people, and they brought her in. Therapist is kind of she's thinking she's another patient, really. She's delusional, she's, I don't know, schizophrenic, or she's seeing things or whatever, until she starts seeing the same things. And so she goes on this, first she doesn't believe it, and then things escalate, and so she kind of goes on this wild goose hunt to kind of find clues or like past victims and things like that. One thing leads to another, and we find out there's an entity that's causing all of this, and her family doesn't believe her, or her family thinks she's just lost it, and there's a history of mental illness in her family too. So when she's saying she's going through things, or seeing things or whatever, they all think that, oh Lord, the girl in crack, and so nobody believes her, and so she's kind of like on her own. One of her exes, um, when the first girl died, was one of the cops who came, to for like the investigation or whatever for that girl's death in the beginning. And so they kind of reconnect, and like the only person she has to lean on basically is her ex, who's the detective or whatever. And so things kind of escalate from there. And yeah, it's kind of a fun movie. It's like really fun. It's really disturbing, and I kind of sat with me for a little bit too. I'm not afraid to admit that. Yeah. So what I like about this movie, a lot. I like a lot. First off, the way it's shot. So this the director is called Parker Finn, and this apparently is his first major motion picture. Which I honestly I couldn't tell. It was almost like it was directed by just like a pro, like a like a just a veteran of the genre. Yeah, I like this movie because it was like the most mundane things had this like real kind of creepy tension hinge to it. Like I think that a lot of horror movies is kind of like an old hat when it comes to horror movies, to kind of like try to make the most mundane things like horrific, or the center of the horror, because that's where the like the magic of true horror movies lie, to take like the everyday kind of mundane, monotonous things, and like make it terrifying. That's kind of classic horror. But just the way the director Parker Finn like lingers on the shots, and a couple of times I think it just kind of lingered on like her pouring wine, from into a glass, and it just kind of lingers there and like the sound is out, and it kind of subverts like the regular jump scare thing, because you're thinking, it's kind of following those beats, like the jump scare beats, because like you kind of think like, okay, here we go, and then there's nothing, and then you're thinking you're moving on, and then wow, like something, she sees something in the corner or something, and it's like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. That's actually pretty cool. Like I've been watching horror movies since I was like a kid, so like I'm so used to like the beats, of a horror movie, of like a jump scare scene or whatever. And that was, I like how he changed it up, and he kind of like really very much subverted kind of the expectations on that. Yeah, so Sosie Bacon, who I didn't take hints from her last name being Bacon, but come to find out she's the daughter of Kevin Bacon and Kyra Cedric. And I couldn't tell, honestly, because she looks like neither of them. Like she doesn't look like her mom or her dad. But she was actually really like she was really good in this, and the way she kind of portrayed somebody who is actually going through things. And I think I mean, she's scared because she's going through stuff, but she's also scared that she is, her family has a history of mental illness. And so she's actually kind of frightened that she is like, this is her turn. Like she's actually going through something at first until is very much put in, like, very much confirmed that no, this is something else. You're not going crazy. This is something completely else and crazy. But yeah, she I really kind of like felt her performance in this of just somebody who's just like, I'm not going crazy. I promise you, I'm not going crazy. I'm seeing, I'm like, this something's wrong. Like, please believe me. But yeah, I really like that. So I think she did an excellent job, of portraying that somebody going through something, and people just think she's crazy, but it's like, no, seriously, like, listen to me. I'm like, something is happening here. That was really good. Jesse T. Usher is in here. I haven't seen him in anything other than The Boys, who he of course plays A Train in The Boys. He's like the Flash character in there from like the DC universe, from the Justice League. He plays the Flash, but he's a huge douche in this one too. Like because at first I'm like, oh, it's my man, A Train. Okay, nice. He's playing like a normal guy now. Okay, yeah, that's cool. I like to see it. But really, he's kind of still a self-centered douchebag, So, but I kind of can't blame him because it's well known that she has her family has a history of mental illness, and so, but even still, it's like, bro, why would you just not gonna believe her and act like she's like a mental patient just off the break? Like the minute, like, is the thing, like, that's why I say he's just a self-centered douchebag in this as well. Because like the minute something happens, he's just like ready to just cut everything off. Because I'm sorry, Jesse T. Usher plays her fiance, Sosie Bacon's fiance in this, and so they're living together. They're like making a life together, and like he knows she knows her issues growing up, right? And so the minute something happens, he's just looking at her all crazy and weird. And I don't 100% blame him though, but it's just like, you knew what this was. Now I gotta say, I gotta give the MVP of the movie to my guy Rob Morgan here. Rob Morgan, he is a pitch hitter in every movie he's in. Because he kind of plays these kind of like smaller roles, these kind of smaller character actor roles, and he kills every one of them. Like he kills everything he's in. He doesn't have one bad performance. I first saw him in the first time I actually recognized him was in Daredevil, like not the old, but the Daredevil series from years ago on Netflix. And even there, I was like, damn, he is acting his ass off in this. Like because he's the bad guy in that, but I'm like, I like this dude. He's and every time I have seen him since, like he has killed it. Like especially the last Black Man in San Francisco, and like that's a pretty complex role to take for this one too, for his role in Smile too, because every role he has is like the same thing. It's this kind of smaller role that kind of comes in the movie and goes, or just has one spot in the movie, and he knocks it out. Like he kills it, he slays it every time. And yeah, it's just like I could watch my guy act for like a whole 2 hours. Like somebody please give him a starring role. He Like he act his ass off, man. Like, yeah, I have to give like that scene of him in this movie in the jail was like, oh man, when he found out like she had it, like the way he flipped out, man, I was just like, man, this dude, Rob Morgan, is quickly became one of my favorite actors doing it today. Yeah, I mean, another thing about Sosie Bacon, beautiful girl, and I don't want to be the guy that's like accused of body shaming or anything like that. But good lord, that boy, she's a string bean. Like she ain't got no one at one point she like kind of like turned to the side or something, and it was just like, damn, she ain't got she's like a toothpick, man. She's too skinny. She's way too skinny. And I'm saying that as a chunky guy. Like I need to lose weight. I need to give her some of my weight. Like she is too damn skinny. There's this part in there where she was like just taking a hamburger to the head, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, keep them coming. She need a couple more. Give her a couple more of them. Like, God, he's just skinny. I don't know how. Jeez, man, it's almost scary though. Like, just watch. Man, she is a real. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. Again, not body shaming. I'm not body shaming. I'm just observing. She need a whopper. Another thing I liked about the movie is the entity that's doing all of this. We get to see him at the end of the film, and he's pretty gnarly. Like he's a pretty ugly looking, terrifying looking monster. Like that was fun. I actually really enjoyed that. I like that. It was something completely new and disturbing and fun. And yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciated the hell out of it. Like I thought it was really cool. But yeah, it was. Oh, it was gnarly. Capital gnarl. Like for real. Okay, what I don't like about it. It would have been fun since Sosie Bacon's character is playing a psychiatrist. I mean, I really wish you would have like psychoanalyzed the mind thing to death or something, or play some kind of like psychiatrist kind of like psycho, like just analyzing it. Like, okay, where does this come from? What are these homicidal tendencies that you have? Tell me about your mother. Like that would have been fun. That would have been crazy. I'd have been like, oh, okay. I'd have been like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm digging that. I'm feeling that. I'm just saying, if you're gonna have her be a psychiatrist, like it kind of felt like wasted a bit because it's like, well, we'll let her. Like, where's the psychoanalyst? Like, let's break. Okay, let's break this down. Why is it you like to attack random strangers and make them do horrible things? Where do these tendencies come from? That kind of thing. I'd have been, and the demon just kind of sits there and just self reflects on it and said, well, my father never hugged me once. It'd have been crazy. It'd have been something new. It might not have been as exciting, but I mean, we've seen the ending before. Like we've seen the ending before. But if we would have had that to kind of like just kind of turn everything on its head, I think it would have been fun. And so like she's in the mind entity demon's head, you know, like wreaking havoc in his mind, so he don't know what's real and what's not. I'd see if I was writing it, it would have been a little bit more interesting. It might not have been as good, but it'd been interesting, you know. Yeah, and this is the thing, like all of these like modern learned people here, like a part of the reason nobody believes her is because nobody thinks that there could be like a supernatural force of evil that's like influencing people's thoughts and actions. Like that's so far-fetched, what are you talking about? No, we are learned professional people here. We don't talk about or think about these kind of things. Like, that's oh, you're talking low-minded now. But it's like, really, like anybody who turns on the evening news nowadays, the thought of like a supernatural force that's causing people to do like a bunch of terrible, evil, sick things, that don't seem too far-fetched for me. When I turn on like the Channel 5 news at 10, that don't seem far-fetched to me. Yeah, it seems pretty plausible to me. But yeah, that got on my nerves in this film. All these people just like scoff at her or just like looks at her strange when she's saying like, no, there's this thing that's making me see things, and I think it's making people harm each other. And they just kind of look at her like, and it would be a thing if she wasn't a professional psychologist with degrees and like an actual job in an actual hospital. If somebody like that is telling you like, no, I'm seeing things, like something's happening, something kind of crazy is happening right now, you don't trust a word they say. I would kind of have to like say, oh, wait, you're saying this? Okay, yeah, what's happening? Because if you're saying this, then something must be going on. But yeah, everybody just, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it irritated me. I was on Sozi's side in this one. The only critique I have, because I glowingly talked about how Parker Finn kind of directed this, but the only thing I would say though is it's a little bit of over directing because he has these, and everybody does this thing where they like invert the camera, so like the ground is like at the sky or whatever, to I guess it's to kind of like get a sensation of, I don't know, I guess to try to like get you off balance or to like add a sense of dread or menace to the film. But it didn't, this film didn't need that. It had heaps of dread in this already. It didn't need like a lot of the camera tricks and kind of like stuff like that. It kind of was a little overboard. Yeah, I love this movie. This is a classic to me. I am definitely at some point going to own this. And when I get a new place, I'll probably, like when I start collecting DVDs or Blu-rays again, when I have space to actually hold them, I'm most definitely going to buy this. Yeah, Smile, 4 out of 5. It was really good, really fun, and this is a movie that actually stuck with me for a couple of nights. Like, yeah, I had to, pull the covers up really tight for a couple of nights. That kind of never happens to me watching horror movies, but yeah, that was really cool. Smile, 4 out of 5. Dope flick.